Hi guys, welcome to my channel and great SolarWinds and GNS3 integration course. In today's lesson, I'm going to talk about SolarWinds alert that you can define for your monitoring devices. You can set an alert and trigger and conditions for your devices based on policy that you would like to receive the notification or an alert to your devices. So before we start, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, like the video to get every new update almost every day. And if you haven't seen my previous lesson, please click here to watch my previous lesson. So first off, we need actually to let SolarWinds access the internet because we want to set email notification to send an alert or the triggers to my email address. So first off, we'll right click on the SolarWinds server VM here, and you should add a network adapter, and we're gonna say finish. I already added one, which is going to be network adapter 2, and you should set custom specific virtual network. You should use VMnet 0 because VMnet 0 is bridged with your local PC. That means this SolarWinds can act like your local PC and get the IP address from your modem or whatever internet system that you have in your home or I don't know, in your work or anywhere. So that's great. Let me show you the IP address. Now I am having two IP addresses, one for connecting to my GNS3 and the second is to routing the internet. So that means now I can ping the IP address of the internet, or let's say for example NS lookup so that's great. And then here we have the last 25 events and event summary. Here, as you can see, we have the neighbor, which the trigger said it went up and node is down, and the rest of them, as you can see. For example, R1 is responding again, the time on millisecond. Obviously, when the devices get back online, you will see the last 25 event here, which is a great option that you can have. But the problem with these two options, you cannot have the email notification or something like SMS. That means you should always take a look at these two options in your production environment. Here it says alert triggered. That means these alerts are triggered for 2 days. For example, node 1 on critical state, node 1 has been rebooted on that date, and the rest of them, as you can see. So again, what a problem with these two, you cannot have the SMS or email notification. Or of course we can edit them, and again you will have the event or summary here and with the SMS or email notification. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on email notifications and sound notifications. So first off, we'll go to setting. Let's configure the Smtp server for this SolarWinds server. Actually, let me use maximum size here to send the notification for our email. So we'll say manage SMTP. And here we're going to click on add SMTP server. Let's say mail dot our domain, and this is the port. We'll say SSL, and the username to log into that SMTP email server. So and the password. Obviously, this is going to be one of your username that you have to log into that SMTP server to send the notification. So, and here we'll click on send test email. Here we'll say to this IP address, and we're gonna copy this address again and we'll paste it here, and we'll send the SMS email test for that address. And we're gonna test this SMTP server by sending the email address. So I think the password, it is wrong. Yes, I'm sure that I typed the wrong password. So now, as you can see, the message sent successfully, and here we'll go to my email address and we'll say refresh, and now we can see the test from our SolarWinds. That's great. So we'll go back here and we'll say save. Now we have the Smtp server that SolarWinds can connect to it and send the email notification to whatever that you like. For example, your group of email address, your single users, or whatever. So here we'll go to alert activity and let's talk about this option. Here, as you can see, this is all active alert, as you can see. We have one here which is in error state, which path to Google. So to add a new alert, we'll click on Manage Alert. And here we can see the alert that we have in our SolarWinds server. For example, we have alert when server is not up, or alert me when virtual IP address is not up, or the rest of them, as you can see. For example, for ASA site-to-site VPN tunnel, we have the trigger or an alert here. So for example, for our ASA site-to-site VPN, we have the alert which is configured by default. And of course, you can enable which one of them as you like. For example, this one, alert me when average application response time. You can go here, and as they are a pre-built alert in SolarWinds, in most cases you cannot actually edit them. If you go to next here, again, you will see that you cannot edit because they are used for event log here. For example, as I showed you before, most of them, they're going to use by the last 25 event and event summary. So, but we want to actually to make something different and new in our production environment, to actually send the email notification or send an SMS. In today's lesson, as I told you before, we'll focus on how we can send the email notification based on the alert that we're gonna configure. And here in the center action manager, here we have several actions here. For example, net performance monitor event log is turned on, and something like email notification is ready, and these are action manager that you can use. So we'll go back to alert manager, and here we'll click on add a new alert. So let's say routers uptime or things like that, whatever you like. And here you'll give the description, and here is the enable option. You can disable it, you can re-enable it again. And by default, evaluation frequency of alert is 1 minute. You can say, for example, let's say 5 minutes, or the default one is okay. And you cannot use a less than 15 seconds. For example, 14 seconds is not allowed. So let's say 1 minute by default. And this is gonna be severity of the alert. We'll use critical. When the routers goes down, for example, the link disconnected between two routers or things like that, we'll use the critical. In that case, you have the 100% packet loss. Obviously, you should select the critical. Let's say that you want to monitor your memory usage of the router. It's going to be warning. For example, you set the alert if my routers reach the 70% of their memory, you should send an alert or trigger to send the notification. So keep in mind that. In most cases, we will use critical and warning. And this is the alert limitation category, which is by default. There is no limitation. And next, and here we have the trigger condition. So in today's lesson, we're going to use a simple trigger condition. For example, if the router goes down, send me the notification for whatever reason. So I'm going to say all object here, or you can select the specified object here. For example, only R1 and R2. So here it said I want to alert on node. Specifically, we want to use the node. We can use a volume here. Here it said because we were using the condition, it's going to be clear condition. That's okay. And here we can use, for example, for volume, we can say a status equal to, for example, down. For what? For our volumes in Windows Server, which is going to be our disks. So here simply we're going to say, for example, interfaces. Again, we're going to clear the condition. And again, we can say interfaces type description or status has changed. Here we can select the event must match the following filter. All of the following must be true. Here we can see new status changing to equal and the value to old status. That means if we have the new status from our interfaces, for example, it is in green state and turns to the yellow state for whatever reason. For example, in a specific day of the time, we have bandwidth consuming. We see much bandwidth consuming. We can use this trigger. But I'm going to select a node. By the way, here you can use a lot of things. Here you can scroll down, for example, for in your ISP. Actually, I'm using this one for my OSPF or BGP, which is routing neighbors. A very great option that you can check out your edge router with the data center or ISP that, for example, if routing changed to the, let's say, for example, protocol name or protocol Orion status is equal to up, or here we'll say down, for example. So let's say again the node. In most cases in your LAN environment, we'll use node or something like volume interfaces. These are the most common that we use in our environment. For application, of course, we have, for example, AWS or several hardware, something like F5 or things like that. So, and here I'm gonna say node, we're gonna say the status equal to down. Of course, it's gonna apply to each one of these devices. So that's great. And here it said the condition must exist for 10 minutes to send the notification. Let's say only 1 minute actually to get as fast as the notification that we want. But in your production environment, the default option is going to be 10 minutes. And next. And here is the reset condition. Again, we'll use the default option, which is recommended. And we're gonna say next. And time of the day, we're gonna use the default one. Actually, to sending the notification, we rarely using the specific time of the day for a schedule. We will use it, for example, for several applications or servers that they are not important to our production environment. But in most cases, we do not set a schedule to send the notifications or trigger. So we're gonna say next. And here it says the trigger action. Here, we're gonna say assign or add action. We can say add action here, specify the configuration, or here we can assign the action. So, what a difference. Obviously here, if I choose send an email, I should configure the email notification again, which we previously configured in an SMTP section. But here we can simply use send an email, assign, because it's already configure it, and here again we can configure it. Instead, this is the email to the default email, and these are the configuration. Here it uses the message body, and here as you can see it uses the SMTP server that we defined before. So that's great, and we'll go back here. So here let's use two options. I'm going to use email address, and here I'm going to say for this trigger, let's say Cisco admins. All Cisco admins, we're gonna notify when something wrong happened to our Cisco devices to this email address. And of course you can use comma and add another email address. So that's great. And this is the default subject and messages that we're gonna see in our email or SMS notifications. And this is the SMTP server. So that's great. And obviously we should delete this one. So this is the first one, and the second one we're gonna use play a sound notification. So obviously we should download our desktop notification client. Let's say sound notify or whatever you like, and here we're gonna click on this, and we should install this desktop notification. And simply, it's very simple to install, and here as you can see it uses SolarWinds site, and this is the port. So simply our SolarWinds is going to be the host name SolarWinds SRV or whatever, or of course you can use the IP address. So here we should use 10.10.10.50, and the port is 8787, and the Orion server authentication, we're going to use the exact authentication that we're going to use to log in to our SolarWinds server here. And this is the password. So that's great. As you can see, it's ready. So for your production environment, of course, your server may not have the sound card here. And for example, you should install it on your client on the network, not on the server. But in this case, because we only have this Windows server and we want to test it, you should install it on the server like me. And by the way, here, if you see the little X on your speaker here, simply you should click and it's gonna tell you you should install the Windows Sound service. You're gonna accept it, and you can see now we can have the sound even we are in our virtual machine. So that's great. And we're gonna say again maximum size, and this is the method that you can use for notification. Let's say again, for example, sound notification. Here is the day of the time and the execution, and we're gonna say that's great, and we're gonna say next. And here is said the reset condition. For example, let's say that your device after 10 minutes goes back to the network. For example, there was a problem, you fix it, and now you should have the reset action. So we're gonna say add, and again send me the email notification. Here is the great way that you can use to reset the notification. So let's say reset routers notifications. So that's great. And again, we'll use the group of email address or whatever email address that you would like. Again, you can use comma to specify or to add the second one. So we're gonna say next. And again, here you can insert the variable here. For example, I want to say the specific day of the week and the day and daytime, and we're gonna say insert. As you can see, it's gonna insert here. And next, and this is the Smtp server, and next, and this is the summary. If you're happy with that, you can click on submit. Here, as you can see, this alert would be immediately triggered on 0 object. So that means if we already have, for example, a problem with R2, you're gonna see that you have one device triggered to this alert. So we're gonna say submit. That's great. So we'll scroll down here, we can see the router uptime. This is the exact alert that we created. So to test it, let's go back here, and simply we should right click and stop our router, or for example our MikroTik. So after 1 or 2 minutes, we'll go to dashboard. Here we'll see, here we have MikroTik and router which are down. And again here, actually I think we have the sound notification, and let's say acknowledge all. And now we should actually see the email notification here, as you can see in my email address. Here it said an issue has been detected at Monday at this time with this router, this IP address, and as you can see, it said that for this alert. That's great. Again, the second one is going to be for our MikroTik device. So let's remove them, and again, we'll go back here. Sorry, let's go back to the GNS3 and let's power on these devices, and now we should see the green state on the SolarWinds after something around 5 minutes. In some cases, I should say you should wait more than the trigger time that you specified. So first off, again, we should have the sound notification and again email notification here. So let's again double check the alert that we defined for the reset condition. Let's go down here. For the reset condition, I think we use only email notification. So let's add the sound notification here again. And here we'll say reset notification. And play the sound. And this is the message. Let's copy the name of the action and next, and here it said this trigger is going to apply to one object, which is going to be, of course, one of our devices. So we'll go back here. Now we should wait for the sound notification and of course the email notification here for this device. So first off, we have the error for our R2. Here it said at this time the device was down for 10 minutes. That's great. And again, we'll go back here, we'll do a refresh. We should see the second email notification for our MikroTik. So as you can see, when the device goes back online, it turns to the critical state and warning, and then it will go to the green state. So let's do a refresh again. In some cases, actually, you should wait more than 2 or 3 minutes to see the email or sound notification. And here, when do a refresh, we should actually turn to the yellow state, which is warning. Now we should see after several minutes, we should see we turn to the yellow and then to the green state, which takes time actually. It is very easy to configure an alert in SolarWinds Alert section. So if you want to know more about event, message center, syslog, trap, and other settings on SolarWinds NPM, you can visit my SolarWinds Network Performance course, and it is a very great course that you can enroll and start learning this great application to monitor your servers, routers, virtualizations, or whatever devices that work on with Smtp. And if you have question, please ask question in the comment below, and I am waiting for your question to help you learn SolarWinds NPM server. So, and this is the sound notification, as you can see, for our router 1. So in today's lesson, we learned how we can enable Smtp server to send email notification and add a simple alert for our Cisco devices.